pace with my mum, Eleanor.
Yeah, good morning.
So missed a few days because I was in Berlin. As I was telling my mum, we were looking after some things there, and we went to some Christmas fairs as well, German Christmas fairs. My wife's German, so actually she knows the place and how to go, and it's really, really lovely. We wanted to find, we got some German Christmas cookies and things like that, which we'll give for our children, which is a great thing to do. So Christmas is coming up, is the third Sunday of Advent. Mum and I are going to be singing in a Christmas concert at St. Thomas's Hospital in London on the Wednesday, the 18th,
Oh,
on Thursday, the 18th of December. It'll be about 12 o'clock, probably around the main entrance.
No, from 10:30.
Well, we go at 10:30, but we don't start singing then. So from 10:30, we prepare probably about 11:30. We're
Yeah.
probably around the main entrance. So look out for us. It's called the VIP Singers, the visually impaired singers. It's a singing group, and we are a happy, kind of lively lot. So we'll be there. If you happen to be in London, if you happen to be going to St. Thomas's Hospital, we'll be singing in the eye department to start with. That's where we usually go. And then we go to the main entrance. So do tell people. And if anybody is interested in looking for something to do who is visually impaired in London on a Saturday morning, we sing in St. Thomas's Hospital together. It's a very social group in the South Wing committee room. Just turn up and that's all you need to do. Okay. Yeah? So that was a plug for the VIP singers. Okay, so we carry on with reading about this. The last time we left it was talking about the problems of trying to recapture the emissions that we create. These are the greenhouse gas emissions that serve to be like closing a window when things are very hot, when you actually want to do is to opening it. And so as a result, it gets hotter still. So if trees aren't going to do it, we were talking about trees before, then maybe technology can. The Conference of the Parties, COP, are annual conferences among governments to debate and negotiate steps to limit greenhouse gas emissions. In particular, in the COP28 meeting, the idea of carbon capture was pushed to the fore. The meeting was chaired by the chairman of a major oil and gas company, and the oil and gas companies are the biggest proponents of the idea that instead of trees, technology can be used to absorb carbon dioxide from the air. Here again, the economics is very wrong. Technical solutions are solutions to very specific problems. They are fundamentally reductionist. They reduce big complex problems into one element. I think we've read this before, but never mind. Let's carry on anyway. In this case, this is to reduce the issue of climate change to tackling the specific removal of few carbon dioxide molecules from the atmosphere. So let me just explain a little bit why I say that. Even though the carbon dioxide molecules are the molecules that are closing the window, not letting the heat out, the issue is bigger. The issue is about how we use resources from our planet. And just by tackling this in the way of thinking only about the carbon dioxide, we're trying to avoid having to ask, how are we using our planet? Technology is then sought to solve this very specific problem. This is usually possible in a laboratory. So some people joined us, just want to say hi, please stay, and do leave comments. The error comes when it's extrapolated to claim that the big complex issue is now solved. This is how technology misses the lesson of climate change. Nature is calling on modern humans to examine how they connect with nature and each other. That's the comments I said earlier. It is asking deeply, are modern humans willing to thrive at nature's pace? And that's worth thinking what this is. It is the title of the book. In other words, we tend to say how fast we want to grow, but nature is saying, actually, you got to keep up with me, not actually try to run ahead. Carbon capture puts this question aside to offer an answer, as long as modern humans can do science. But even if the science of carbon capture is possible, the economics has problems. Looking for carbon dioxide in the air is like looking for a needle in a haystack. It takes a lot of energy. Typical estimates are that a coal power plant would need 1/5 of the power it produces to recapture the carbon dioxide it has emitted. This is when carbon dioxide is concentrated in the smokestack. There it is nicely trapped and relatively easy to capture. And that's because the molecules are moving around and there are actually not that many of them. So it's like, imagine being in like children's playground where there's a ball pool and you dive in there and all the balls are red and there are 3 or 4 green ones and you have to find the green ones. And you send your kids in and they dive in and they swim around trying to find it. And they use a lot of energy. If the carbon dioxide has already escaped into the atmosphere, it becomes a lot harder. The problem goes from looking for a needle or a haystack to looking for it in a farmyard full of haystacks. So just imagine that in the ball pool, all the balls are now all over the building and you have to go around finding it. It's much harder then. The greenhouse gas molecules are now spread out everywhere in the atmosphere. And considerably more air is needed to filter. One moment. To find them. To get this done, a lot more energy is needed. This means more energy is taken away from doing other things, just so that the carbon dioxide can be captured. The energy, of course, could be used to replace the oil and gas and coal, and no carbon capture would then be needed at all. That is how the economics goes wrong. A business that captures carbon dioxide does this to make money by selling the captured carbon as carbon credits. Since a lot of energy is needed to find the carbon dioxide molecule, it takes that as the energy that other businesses can use. Those other businesses now have to keep using oil and gas and coal. This keeps the carbon dioxide emissions up. For the carbon capture business, this is great. It means there will be plenty more carbon dioxide for it to capture. This is why the major proponents of carbon capture are oil and gas and coal businesses. It keeps the demand for oil and gas and coal up. This is how the economics is wrong for the purpose of actually reducing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. When the whole picture is taken, the contradictions become even starker. The captured carbon dioxide is used to extract oil and gas. Governments provide subsidies to the oil and gas businesses for this, which is considered as a green business. The captured carbon dioxide is used to force oil and gas out of difficult to access places. The subsidies make it profitable to extract the oil and gas that otherwise would have been too expensive to produce. So the bigger picture is carbon capture expands the scope of oil and gas that could continue to be used. So this is some of the problems. And I think maybe we'll pause here and not get too far. So the brief part of it is that we want to recapture this, and science says we can, and science is very powerful in that way. But it's stopping us from thinking, what are we actually doing? And when we try to capture this, we're actually taking energy that other people can use in order to say we're capturing it. And if we didn't take that energy away from other people using it, then we would need to actually extract less oil and gas and coal out. So by sharing what's already available, we can make it go a lot further. Instead, we want to make money for ourselves and use technology to do that. So we take it all for ourselves and other people have to keep using the oil and gas and coal. Mom?
So that is impossible to control the carbon dioxide.
So it's impossible to control the carbon dioxide if we don't think about sharing the energy we use.
But you have to share with others.
So we have to leave things on the table that others can use. And that's the difference. So a lot of businesses talk about how they do good by capturing the carbon dioxide. When they do that, they are not allowing other people to use the energy that they would have used to achieve what they do. So for businesses, it comes down to thinking, how can I deliver what my customers want by not taking all the resources in order to do it, and allow others to use the resources to deliver to their customers what their customers want. And that way, we can begin to open the door to thinking, how can we have sufficient without constantly demanding we need more?
That means we have to share with the other energy.
Yes, we have to believe that we can get by sharing with others the energy. And there are different ways to do this. Sometimes we can cook together and, once in a week or once in a month have a meal together. And then that means that we're sharing the energy. We don't have to cook everybody separately. Everybody have to turn on their oven and do things like that. And so more social things actually does a lot of sharing. And businesses can be more social. When I was in Japan, I had a research fellowship in Japan, and the semiconductor industry became the leaders in the world because their businesses got together and said, let's build our laboratories together. Let's share it instead of all building our own. And today, with the AI, this is the message what we're talking about, just to prompt again. This is my book, Thriving at Nature's Pace, is about how we can look to be prosperous in our lives if we actually trust to nature. And that's a way in which we can look through the problems of our climate and all the other things and go forward. So have a look at that. You can get the book online. I'm reading bits of it every day with my mum. Okay, so that's enough for today for mum. We'll come back tomorrow. And again, it's almost Christmas, so we hope everybody is happy with their preparations for the holidays.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you all.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you all. Well, we'll still be here for a few more days before Christmas. We're not finishing yet. So, love to everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.